Hi, welcome to the Brief Book Reviews channel, otherwise known as An Old Guy Reviews the Book that he's read this week. So what's the old guy read this week? Well, it's that time of year, isn't it? The leaves are falling from the trees, days getting shorter, nights are coming in. Surely it must be time for the annual Reacher adventure. And sure enough it is. So the book I've read this week is this one. It's called In Too Deep by author Andrew Child, released as a hardback by Bantam here in the UK on the 22nd of October 2024, and we're told it's the 29th Reacher adventure. I guess if you include the No Middle Name collection of short stories, it's the 30th, but hey, what's 29 or 30 between fans? And I guess I must preface this review by saying I am a Reacher fan. I've read all the books. Like other Reacher fans, I'm probably worried a bit about Andrew Child joining Lee Child in the production of the books, and certainly the first couple of the new collaboration weren't as good as previous Reacher books. I think we're gradually getting there, and this one indeed is perhaps not quite the Reacher of old, but we're definitely getting there. Anyway, let's have the Waffle Cliff. What's this book about? Well, book kicks off. We find Jack, or should I say Reacher, because everybody calls him Reacher. We find Reacher on a metal table. He's feeling decidedly unwell. His hands and feet are handcuffed, and he thinks he's broken his wrist. His wrist has given him terrible jip. And to make matters worse, he can't remember how he got there and what's happened. Turns out the Reacher was in a car crash. The driver of the car died. Reacher has survived the crash, but clearly in a bad way. And thus the tale starts to unfold. He wants to know why he's there, who's holding him prisoner. And it turns out he's come across inadvertently a gang of art thieves. These people started off just doing counterfeit paintings. Then they moved on to actually stealing works of art. And they've even got a little sideline now with cyber hacking, where they're demanding money with nemesis. So a very dangerous crew. As with all Reacher stories, there's the bunch of bad guys that Reacher needs to deal with. There's a little subplot, and in this case it's a cop on suspension called Jenny Knight who comes across Reacher, and they team up together. Jenny's father she alleges has been killed by a member of the gang, the art thief gang. And she's seeking revenge. She's currently on suspension because she went outside of her remit as a cop. So she teams up with Reacher, and this is, as Reacher fans know, this is a common thing in Reacher books. He always has a sidekick in most of these books. So it's a typical Reacher tale, lots of twists and turns. His involvement with his mate, not necessarily his mate, but his contact will work in the FBI, who, when he gets a call from Reacher, he's going, oh no, don't, Reacher, whenever I get a call from you, it's trouble. But so the FBI are involved. We've got art thieves. We've got the feeling that one of these art thieves isn't who he says he is, and certainly one of them, it helps Reacher initially and gets him fixed up with a doctor. But Reacher's somewhat suspicious of his motives. So there, it's a typical Reacher tale. Plenty of action. The thing I liked about it, I guess, is that in the original Reacher books, there's lots of brawn. Reacher's a massive 6'5", built like, as we say in the UK, the proverbial brick outhouse. So he's very powerful, he's very strong. There's lots of action where he's fighting his enemies. But he's also, his army background, he was head of an investigations unit. He's also quite smart. He notices things and he uses his intellect to help solve some of these mysteries. And I think some of the previous Reacher books, that have been missing a bit. So in this one, we've got, brawn and brain. And I was pleased to see a bit of a return to that. So it's a good read. It's Reacher versus a dodgy gang, one of whom is about the same size as Reacher. And we lead to a dramatic conclusion where several of the gang's members and their associates are up against Reacher. Worth a read. You don't need to have read the previous Reacher books to read it as a standalone. I enjoyed it. 337 pages. Get back to my previous comment. If you're a Reacher fan and you've read all the books, you'll have probably been a bit disappointed with some of the more recent ones. I'd say if you've never read a Reacher book before, go back to the start. Read stuff like The Killing Floor, The Visitor, Echo Burning, stuff like that. But last book, The Secret, was better. This one I think is better as well. I'd give it 7 out of 10. It's a good read, and the good news is that Reacher may not be back to his original Reacher of the Killing Floor of The Visitor, but I think he's getting there. So I definitely recommend it. Give it a read. 7 out of 10. That's it for this week's brief book review. 10/10 to do it again. Thanks for watching. Bye.